Imagine this. It's late at night. The world is completely silent. You're alone in your house. No footsteps. No voices. Nothing. And then, backhand index pointing, right, someone softly calls your name. I live in a 2-floor house with my sister. A mother-daughter style house. 2 kitchens, 2 living spaces. She lives downstairs, and I stay upstairs. That night, I was completely alone. My sister wasn't home. She usually stayed at her boyfriend's place. So I had the entire house to myself. A horror movie was playing on the TV. The kind that makes you feel uneasy, even after nothing scary is happening. The room was dark. Only the flickering light from the screen, cutting through the shadows. And something felt off. You know that feeling, when your brain tells you, turn around, but you don't want to. My couch faced the TV, which meant, backhand index pointing right, my back was exposed to the entire room behind me. The dining area, the kitchen, the hallway, all behind me. Every few minutes, I glanced over my shoulder. Nothing, just darkness. But that feeling never went away. That quiet creeping sensation. Backhand index pointing right, like someone was standing there, watching me, waiting. Eventually, the movie ended. The silence in the house felt heavier than before. I got up, turned off all the lights, checked the doors, locked everything, and went to bed. At first, everything was normal. But then, alarm clock 1:00 a.m. My eyes suddenly opened. No nightmare. No sound at first. Just awake. And then I heard it. Backhand index pointing right, a voice from downstairs. Soft, distant, but clear enough to recognize. It was my sister's voice. Hey. My heart skipped. I stayed still in bed, listening. Again. Backhand index pointing right, hey, come here. My brain tried to make sense of it. She came home early. Maybe she needs help. Still half asleep. I convinced myself it was normal. I got out of bed. The hallway outside my room was pitch black. I stepped into it slowly, each step echoing softly, the wooden floor creaking beneath me. As I reached the stairs, backhand index pointing right, I heard her again. This time louder, calling my name. Now I was sure. She was downstairs. What is it? I called back. My voice shaky, but I tried to sound normal. No answer. I walked down the stairs slowly, one step at a time, the darkness feeling heavier with each step. I reached the bottom, fumbled for the light switch. Couldn't find it at first. My breathing got faster. Finally, backhand index pointing right, click. The light turned on. The kitchen lit up slowly. The living room. The hallway. Everything became visible. And backhand index pointing right, no one was there. Empty. Completely empty. A cold wave ran through my body. Hello, I whispered. No answer. I checked her bedroom. Opened the door slowly. Backhand index pointing right, empty. I stepped inside. Looked around. Nothing. I turned back to leave. And then, backhand index pointing right, thud. Something hit the floor behind me. I spun around instantly. My heart racing. Nothing had moved. Nothing had fallen. Everything looked exactly the same. But I know what I heard. I didn't check again. I didn't wait. I ran upstairs, faster than I ever had, locked my bedroom door, grabbed my phone, and called her. No answer. Again. No answer. Again. Nothing. I sat there, in silence, staring at the door, waiting for something to happen. Eventually, I fell asleep. I don't even remember when. The next morning, my phone buzzed. A message from her. Backhand index pointing right. Why were you calling me at 1 a.m.? My chest tightened. I replied, were you home last night? She answered, backhand index pointing right, no, I stayed at my boyfriend's place. I stared at the message for a long time, trying to process it, because I know what I heard. And it sounded exactly like her. Fearful face, but that wasn't the only time. Another night. I was 14. Home alone again. I was sitting in my room, watching TV, when I heard something outside. A scraping sound, like something moving on the deck. I walked to the window and looked down. Backhand index pointing right, a man was sitting there, perfectly still, looking straight up at me. I froze. I thought it was someone I knew. A friend, maybe. So I said a name. No response. Just staring. I stepped back, heart pounding, waited a few seconds, then slowly looked again. Backhand index pointing right, he was still there. Not moving, not blinking, just watching. I gathered some courage and asked, what do you want? That's when his shoulders started shaking. He was laughing, but there was no sound, only a faint, wheezing breath, like something was wrong with him. Then suddenly, backhand index pointing right, he stood up and walked toward the back door. My heart dropped. He started pushing it. Then the front door, trying to get inside. I ran, locked myself in my room, and waited. Every second felt like forever. Eventually, it stopped, but I never forgot that night. Face without mouth, and then the worst one. I was 10 years old. My parents left for the hospital in a hurry. I was alone. Hours passed. Then suddenly, backhand index pointing right, the front door opened. I smiled at first. They're back. But something felt wrong. Too quiet. No voices. No footsteps. I stepped out of my room and looked downstairs. Backhand index pointing right, 3 figures. Standing in the dark. Not moving. Not speaking. Just standing there. I ran. Hid in my closet. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Coming closer. My door opened. Someone walked in. Moved around the room. Then stopped. Right in front of the closet. Backhand index pointing right, the door opened. Silence. 20 seconds. The longest 20 seconds of my life. I didn't breathe. Didn't move. Didn't blink. Then, backhand index pointing right, the door closed. They walked away. The next morning, we found out. Backhand index pointing right, the house had been robbed. Skull and the final story. A guy. Home alone. He saw a woman inside his house. He searched everywhere. Nothing. That night, as he tried to sleep, backhand index pointing right, she crawled out from under his bed. Fire. So now tell me, what do you think? Are these just hallucinations? Or something else entirely? Backhand index pointing right because sometimes, when you think you're alone, you're not. Smiling face with horns if you enjoyed this story. Like the video. Speech balloon comment next story. Bell and subscribe for more. Because trust me, backhand index pointing right the next story will be even more terrifying.